We are back after last week. The Pelicans have certainly played some basketball games, though it wouldn't look like it if you watched them tonight. And we are here to take on your questions. So let's get right to it.
The New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson. And Holiday, the dribble penetration. So tough going to the goal.
Welcome. As people start rolling in, we'll get this kicked off. I am Shamit, joined by Jeremy and Mason. And look, tonight we're going to try to sift through the comments, have a good time, do anything really to talk about the Pelicans outside of how terribly they played tonight. Because if we get on that train, this podcast would get sidetracked really quickly. And I'm not sure it'd be fun for anybody. So Mason and Jeremy, how's it going? How are y'all doing?
We're begging you all to put in your half and give us some questions. Please.
Give us something to talk about that wasn't what I just watched. Something.
Hey, it's y'all. It's all tonight.
So what I'll say is they've played Houston 2 games in a row. One in the Smithing King Center, now in Houston. The first game was a little bit more competitive than this one. The Rockets scored 146 points in regulation, and yeah, it looked every bit as bad. When watching them, I think a couple things stood out to me. Number one thing is the Pelicans made 0 adjustments from last game's game plan. The Rockets realized that they could just camp Steven Adams and Şengün and whoever in the paint, load up on any of the Zion stuff, and run Pelicans off the line. The Pelicans are more than willing. If you just take a half little closeout at them, they get spooked. They're not going to shoot the 3. They're going to try to put the ball on the floor. And I hate to break it to folks, I think there's maybe 1.5 players capable of attacking a closeout on this roster. And so, the Pelicans did generate 34 threes this time, which is more than the 27 they generated previously, well short of the 43 mark that Willie Green wants them to get to. And so, yeah, great basketball. Jeremy, Mason, I'm sure you had the pleasure of watching tonight. Anything that really stood out to you?
You go ahead, Mason. Go, you got it.
No. I mean, that's the simple answer. But I mean, all right. So one thing I'm curious about is the Rockets scored 35 points or more in each quarter. I need to know in the last. I'm sure it's happened more recently than I would expect, right? But that's a lot of points, man, in every single quarter. I'm very curious the last time that's happened, because 146 points in regulation is it's a lot of points, and I don't know. I got nothing. Yeah, the box score just makes me want to cry a little bit, but no, nothing really stood out to me. No one impressed me. No one disappointed me more than I've come to expect for this team this year. So, Jeremy, you go. What you got?
I helped my son make a desk today. That's my breakdown.
Oh, man.
It's more productive than the Pelicans outing for sure. Zion had only 2 free throw attempts, and I'm sure he wasn't fouled at all tonight, not with a physical team like Houston. But
not taking 19 shots, definitely not. No.
This is definitely part of it was, the lack of talent on the Pelicans, just absolutely glaring. Part of it is like this really seemed like a game that they were all checked out on. I mean, Zion had 0 defensive rebounds tonight. 0.
No, it wasn't just him, bro. The beginning of the third quarter, it was pad your stats, Houston. Get all the rebounds you want, especially offensively. We were just looking at the ball. I looked at it. Trey looked at it. Z looked at it. I think Mason might have looked at a couple.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had 18 offensive rebounds, which isn't that bad. And you look, when a team is putting up a 56, 43, and 91 slash line against you, there's not gonna be that many defensive rebounds to go around. So like, I get it, but it was definitely like a Yeah, we're playing the Grizzlies tomorrow night, and we're checked out. And I don't know. Enough of this game. Let's get to the comments. This is where the fun stuff is. So let's kick it off with Twinkie. And Twinkie says a popular Pelicans Discord argument today for some reason is who is a better uplifter for their respective team, Jokic or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And I assume this means like, who is making their teammates, or I guess, who's making their teammates better, who is bringing them to a better record. Like if you were to remove both from the equation, which team, how would each team do? That's how I'm interpreting the question.
Last night against Portland, the other Jalen Williams had a triple-double as Aaron Wiggins put up 30, and they blew Portland out. I've watched far too many Nuggets games without Jokic. They don't do that. So if you're just merely talking about being more uplifting, raising their floor and their ceiling, I'm gonna go with Jokic.
Yeah, not close to me. Not even remotely close. I mean, the Nuggets had a stretch this year where they were not. People were questioning like whether they would win I feel like whether they win one playoff series, right? And that has been kind of put to bed purely because of how good Jokic is. And like, yeah, I think we've seen throughout the season for the Thunder how many guys can step up and play a big role for them. I don't think it's remotely close. I mean, and that's not a disrespect to Shea. I mean, I think we all know how good that dude is. But Jokic, I mean, just I'm all aboard that train.
And before Schmidt goes, OKC can still turn defense to offense in ways that Denver's can't.
Yeah,
that they get easier points in ways that Denver can't when Jokic is on the floor.
No question.
So let's turn this into first take. Who is the MVP? If the season ended today, who would you vote for?
And I said all that to say SGA's right MVP. Like he's been amazing. No disrespect to Jokic. No disrespect to SGA's teammates. That boy from Canada, bad man.
The Nuggets are they're still 11 games behind the Thunder in the standings. Like that has to count for something. And so Shea is absolutely my MVP right now. And like we talked about how much of a difference maker Jokic is, but I mean, there's the Thunder are so far ahead of every other team in the West that it's not a competition to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sympathetic to the guy that's putting up historic numbers on a team that is less talented, but hold
on, no. Remember this: Isaiah Joe had a better game than him, despite those hysteric.
Okay, a little context for Jeremy's little quip there. There was a Twitter post on, it was some numbers-based account, and they had a spreadsheet, a very colorful spreadsheet, and they were like, Jokic's 30-20-20 game was not historic. It was the fifth best game last night, and Isaiah Joe having a 16-6-6 game on 55% true shooting. That one rated out to be better than Nikola Jokic. And my favorite, there was a quote tweet on that, and it was a wonderful quote tweet. And it was like, look, if your formula puts 16-6-6 over what Jokic did, that whole formula needs to be looked at. And so, all that to say, I'm sympathetic to what Jokic is doing, but the historic precedent is so far on Shea's side. It's not even like, oh, Shea's not having a historic year by the number standard in his own rights. No, Shea's crushing it in every single advanced number. And he's in fact ahead of Jokic in a lot of those statistical categories as well. And so he's the league's MVP, and congratulations to him. And I think this continues how long of a streak where we haven't seen an American MVP?
Oh no, he's American. We've just made it closer. Hold on. Due to certain things we've heard a few weeks ago, he may be forced. Never mind.
You talking about a future American, the 51st state?
Yes, the future. No, he's a
Okay.
future American. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That is correct.
Okay.
Mace isn't
Yes.
seething at all. He isn't seething at
Nope. Not going there. Not going there. Absolutely not.
Okay. Let's go on to the next question. It's from JP. JP asks, if the pick is not top 2, would you all draft, like make the selection, or would you like to package it in a trade? I love this question because I feel like we've discussed this offline a good bit. We've discussed this in the Discord like every day, discussed it on Blue Sky. I'm going to kick it to you guys. The pick is like, where do you guys fall on this philosophically?
I will say that I am against trading it. Just on principle. I really, we've seen this team historically either get the number 1 pick and then end up being disappointed, or nothing close to that, right? Like I don't think I can't remember the last, like Buddy Hield, I guess, right, was like the last time we had like a good top 10 pick, but not like number 1 pick. And so I'm willing to just roll the dice there. I think, I don't know. I mean,
it depends on how you feel on dice.
Fair enough.
He was 8. He was number 8.
Yeah.
And then theoretically, they traded number 4 for 8, 17, and 35, which ended up being Jackson, Nikhil, and Didi Lozada.
And according to the chat, he's turning into a real NBA big. We'll get to that later. I still claim No. I still claim No as a good pick. Would I trade? So would I trade 3? I guess is the question, because
that's what it amounts to.
It wouldn't stop me from making a trade for an all NBA caliber player.
So what's your threshold of player, right? So I mean, I think the answer of this is like who's available, right? You trade that pick in a heartbeat if Giannis is available.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Yeah. We've established that. Now let's take it down a notch. If Jaylen Brown is available, do you trade number 3?
Yes.
Are we paying the tax?
No, I mean they can make the Brown salary work. You know, they trade CJ, Kelly, or whatever. You just assume they can make the salary work. They're not paying the tax.
Yeah, I mean that I need a better hypothetical than that because Boston's not.
It's a bonus. It's a bonus.
I was getting there. Let me work down my players. No, stop. I'm just asking you. This
is why I'm not
straight up.
The moderator.
Straight up. If Jaylen Brown's available, let's assume Boston's like, okay, we're way too deep in the second apron. Like we gotta do something.
Yes. Okay. I will take Jaylen for the number 3 pick. Yes.
Okay, so we've established you do it for Jaylen Brown. Let's take it down another level. Fine, let's go to Sabonis. There was just an article, a really good article on the De'Aaron Fox breakup in Sacramento, and where they talked about how Fox was not behind the Mike Brown firing. In fact, he was basically like, okay, you fired him. I cannot be on this team anymore. And really, really interesting stuff there going on where Vivek and Vivek's daughter is apparently playing a big role, and she's dating Jeremy Lamb, and he's playing a role. And there's a big mess going on there. Read that article, Sam Amick. Of The Athletic, not Amico, Amick of The Athletic. So just go give that article a read. And in that article, it says Sabonis and his representation will weigh their options this summer effectively. They're going to take a stock of what direction the Kings are headed in and decide if they want to be a part of this moving forward. So would you trade number 3 for Sabonis?
No, I wouldn't.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's hear it. Why or why not? Let's start with Mason. No, you said no. Why not?
Yep. I don't think that does enough for this team's ceiling. I have DeJounte's injury hanging over me pretty hard here. Like I feel like if the Achilles injury didn't happen, I would be more open to it. I just don't know what to expect from this team next year. And I'd rather take my shot in the draft. I trust this franchise to draft the right guy at 3. Not that it might be that much of a decision, but still, like I I can't get there on Sabonis based on what I project for this team next season. I can't get there.
What if you were getting off DeJounte in that deal? Like, the deal is DeJounte, Kelly, 3, and whatever, I guess, something to balance the scales.
No, I don't feel like before the season we would have considered Sabonis as like the difference maker for this team, and I can't get behind that argument to do it now. I'd rather.
Oh, I am in
Rather take my
strong
shot.
disagreement here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Before, I mean, I say my thing, Jeremy. What where you at? I mean, I know you said yes. Why yes?
Again, I want as many all NBA caliber talents in the building I can get. And
Yeah,
Sabonis is that.
Yeah, I mean, look, on a basic level, I'm there. I think Sabonis specifically is someone that I think, higher on than the relative NBA consensus. I think, I've talked to a good number of execs who think that contract is underwater. And they think that the Kings would not be able to get back commensurate value on that like you would on another all NBA type guy, right? And so, but I think Sabonis is an incredible player and also a really good fit with the Pelicans' main players. Just the playmaking, the rebounding, the consistency that he brings, and the fact that he plays. I mean, yes, I say this now that he has a strained hamstring, but like he's been on the court he's healthy. He's a healthy guy. Until they get to New Orleans. I think the qualms on Sabonis is that he is not a great defender, and I think that's accurate to a degree. But I think he's a better defender than people let on to. He's not a rim protector, no, not by any means. But positionally, in terms of being in the right place and then ending possessions with rebounds, he's had a positive impact on defenses for many years, except for when the Kings put super tiny, small perimeter players near him. And then you kind of see it and you look at the Pacers, everyone was like, oh, Miles Turner, defensive player of the year candidate. Sabonis is gone, and Turner's impact stats on defense have cratered because of how much Sabonis was able to cover up, like cleaning up the glass and doing like traditional big man work. I just think the offense would be so good with Trey, Zion, and Sabonis, where I'm just like, you do it. That's where I'm at with him.
But I guess, do you think you need the 3 pick to get him then?
That's a great question, because I would start the offer without the 3 pick. And then if they were asking for more, I think for my offer would be something like, we'll send you expiring. So it'll be CJ, Kelly, the Pacers pick, and maybe, another future pick. Can you do something like that? Right. And then if that's not there, can I sweeten the pot with Misi? Right. And if that's not there, I'm not saying I'm throwing all of this in, right? It's like I'm mixing and matching salaries. Okay, we'll take Kelly out of there, put Herb in there, right? I think the way I value things is it'd be cool to send out future draft capital that's not this year's pick. And then if that's not the case, it'd be nice to send out like Misi and Hawk. Honestly, I think I probably prefer that to future draft capital. And then I would put Herb in the deal to tip the scales. If they don't want Misi and Hawk, take those guys out. Cool. Herb's the next more valuable guy. I kind of value him at 2 to 3 picks or so, depending on the quality of the pick. So like, can you work something there? And then, you get a top 5 pick. You're drafting VJ, you're drafting Ace, you're drafting another athletic player that's going to fit seamlessly with even Trey Johnson, that's going to fit seamlessly with Sabonis. That's how I would like to approach it. So it's a good question. I don't know.
Well, because the offensive fit with Sabonis is abundantly clear, right? Like I get it, and even with the rebounding, I worry about the other side of the basketball, obviously, and then is he worth the 3 pick for this franchise? I just don't know. But like, if I can go get him, I'm not saying don't go get him. Go get him. I'm just trying to figure out what the right value is. That's all.
Yeah. This right here by James, the man can rebound by the entire team.
That's not saying much. That's a low bar, man.
No, but he is like, I think he's like led the NBA in double doubles like year after year. So it's just like,
yeah,
I'd be so into this.
But having a great rebounder next to these guys make them a great rebounding team. So all you need is that one guy who get rebounds and box out. It helps a great deal.
All right, next question. John in MD. He asks, who buys on Hawk and Misi? Can be different places. I want to sell. That's a very loaded question. Who buys on Hawk and Misi? But so I guess I'll morph this question on, should the Pelicans be entertaining offers on these two guys if teams come calling?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Hey, you guys saw what happened to Dyson, right? We didn't value him. We didn't play him right. Hey, we're the problem. Please save this guy from this city. We're the problem. It's a curse. Word to Dyson.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that the group is in total agreement here. I mean that was a very quick, like very swift. Yeah, no, they should value. I mean, look, I think the Hawk one is interesting. I think any smart NBA team is looking at that and being like, look, we can get this for the veteran minimum in free agency. Like, why should we give up assets there? And that's gonna hurt, man. That's gonna hurt. I think we talked about it like last podcast where it's like he has a $7 million option on that fourth year. Should the Pelicans pick that option up? That's a real question to me. And Misi is young. Young rookie bigs have a tough time, especially on the defensive end. I've gone a full circle on Misi where like at draft time I was like, I don't like this pick. I don't really buy the upside here, but whatever, let's see what happens. And then everybody got hurt and he had those like a really good stretch from November and December. And it's like, oh, you know what? Misi is good enough to where I don't think they should be entertaining trades for guys like Walker Kessler and, these like fringe bigs. So it's like, no. Like, unless it's an all-star level big, don't go get a big. And now I'm back on like, no, they need a starting level big. I don't think Misi's going to be a starting level big in this league. I think he's going to be a rotation player. I think he's going to have a long career. But it's like, they need someone that's actually going to be able to anchor the paint defensively in terms of rebounding, and I just don't know if he ever gets there. And so I know for a fact that the Los Angeles Lakers are very, very high on Yves Misi, or were very, very high during the draft. I don't know about present state. And they were I know this for a fact, they were going to draft Yves Misi had Dalton Connect not fallen. So that is where he was going to go. They loved him in the draft process. I don't know if those feelings are still there, but we see GMs all the time fall in love with a guy during the draft and find a way to go get him. And they had a failed trade package for Mark Williams that I would be willing to entertain. I would love that trade package. I think it's a very good one. Should that be available, I think it'd be a win-win for both sides, especially with how Jackson Hayes is playing. I know Jeremy wanted to talk about that.
Yes, he's putting the ball in the basket, and no, sincerely, if you want to be sincere, he's playing when they try to morph into like a zone almost with LeBron playing at low man. He's been good at the level, so I'm gonna give him that.
Jackson Hayes gets the benefit of not making any decisions on offense except for catch and dunk. Love that. Love that for him. It's a great spot to be if you're a big. That's what I'm saying. Misi, even smarter than Jackson Hayes. It's a great fit there.
Oh, we got another question. Hold on.
We have lots of questions, but let's go with that one.
Let's go with that one. That's the next one I see. Oh, we'll answer that one. I see that question you might have missed. Go ahead. I was demanded, should Griffin be on the odd seat?
Yes. Have you seen this franchise? I mean, yes. I mean, I don't know how hot, but yeah, he should be on the hot seat. That's my answer. Yes, he should be on the hot seat.
I have a serious answer after Shamit goes. The shrug shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I think this is a results-based business, and the results have been remarkably poor, and I don't think the process has been any better. I think I think if you were to evaluate the totality of the last 6 years, has it been six? I don't know how many, 6, 7 years.
Yes.
Um, the Pelicans started with a very awesome chest of assets. They had a very favorable starting point for any person taking over a franchise, and they have not been able to accomplish the many things that folks thought that they would be able to accomplish. And a lot of that comes back on Zion. And so I do think I'll shoot Griff a lot of bail on the Zion situation, though I think they're intertwined and linked, and it's a pretty nuanced conversation there. But a lot of it has been a continual misidentifying of team needs because there's been a lack of big picture planning, and so it's to me it's been reactive. Hey, this is the problem this year, we got to fix it. Last year, oh, they were terrible in crunch time, we got to go get a point guard, let's go get DeJounte Murray. In the past it's been, oh, they were not physical, let's go get Steven Adams. It's every single year it's been that style of thinking rather than this is the team that we are trying to be collectively, and every single move is building towards that kind of team, right? It's just I think that in and of itself is enough to, on its own merits, warrant a look at someone else with a better vision. However, my question to you guys, and I don't think you guys have a real answer, but I think it's worth a discussion, is how much of this haphazard process is him executing upon ownership's vision of what they want year after year, or how much of this is his vision?
Well, that's been like the question the last decade, whether regardless of who's been the Pobo or GM, because like this question right here, the follow up around the DeJounte trade. Like I don't, in every deal, this is like the quintessential Pelicans experience. Like every deal or most deals in a vacuum, like, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. Like that makes sense. But like connecting things together, because like the DeJounte trade, even it's the DeJounte trade without knowing what you're doing with Brandon Ingram. Like that is the issue, right? Because like the DeJounte Murray trade for the Pelicans, I get the vision with the roster, I get it with Zion, but I don't get it without knowing what you're going to do with BI and what you're doing in center position, right? So like that's kind of the challenge here.
Yeah, I'll answer both questions. The first one, when he did that press conference after the Brandon Ingram trade, and he made the point that they should have won more games last year than they did. That was the first time he put any type of clue that he was about to get rid of a head coach in his tenure here. That was the first time that he threw coaching under the bus while he's been here. When Stan Van Gundy when he got fired, he made sure he went out of his way, let us know he didn't really want to do this. It just had to be done. So not only should he be on the hot seat, yes. Is he on the hot seat? I believe so. I believe he has shown his hand that his job may be on the line sooner than we know. As for the direction, is that ownership or is that's his doing? When he was with Cleveland, he was putting out fires on the roster, trying to fill holes for a championship team. I don't know if that's one of the reasons why he was hired, because he can do whatever the owner says and quick, fast, in a hurry. But as you guys pointed out, nothing has connected with a vision. And I give a little empathy because I can't see a vision because guys aren't playing. But he does just try to patch holes in ships that seem to be sinking.
Yeah, I mean, look, they traded for Adams because they needed a physical guy and they thought that they were soft, and so they spent draft capital to get him. They spent draft capital to get off of him. They got JV, who was very, very good for him, but they openly shopped him for 2.5 years, and they were like, okay, we need rim protection, we need spacing, and they openly try to like improve upon that position. And then, like Mason said, the same thing. They were unable to get into this summer and solidify something there. And then they haven't been able to get the shooting that is needed around Zion. They haven't been able to get play creation. And so it's just been like, one thing after another where, I don't know. I mean, we could spend 2 hours talking about this. I think we're all kind of there. So in a nutshell, he he needs to be evaluated just as coaching needs to be evaluated. In practicality, if it's, barring any more secret kind of extensions or anything like that, it seems like both those guys have a year left on their contracts. Is ownership willing to do anything about that? Who knows? We'll see. We can only comment on what's out in front of us. So yeah, time to move on to the next question. Let's go to Christian here. He says, do you think Jose stays for the full 25-26 season? His minutes in the rotation have been weird the last few games while playing well. Let me answer the second part of that, and then I want to kick the first part of it to you guys. The second part of it, he's hurt. He's hurt, and they're tanking. And so the minutes in the rotation have been a reflection of his injury status and them managing people's minutes when they are injured. So that's there's really nothing to see there. But yeah, do you guys think Jose stays for next season?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
If they're good, he probably be here. The contract's too good to not have in your books for a good player on a winning team. If they're bad, probably not, because the contract's too good and somebody will value it and maybe want to extend off of it. So I just think however the season goes will answer your question. If I ask today, he won't be at the end of it.
I think he will. I mean, I think, look, he's not, I don't think he's a guy many teams are going to point to and say that dude's going to help me win a title. Just, and it's not, it's tough, but like it's a function of his size, right? I mean, like that's just the dude's his size at don't, unless you're Chris Paul, right? Like you're just not going to make that kind of two-way impact to be able to be anything but at best like a backup point guard. But I feel like what the city, the fans, like all love him. I think for this team, he's a very solid backup point guard. I just think there's a lot more arguments to say that he sticks it out here than he gets traded. I just if you're going to trade Jose for a second round pick, like why? Don't bother. Like he presents more value to this team, even if it's just like vibes and nostalgia than anything else. And so I think he sticks it out here, unless there's a situation that means he's not going to play. If he's not going to get minutes, he's like totally out of the rotation. Then I think they'll try to do right by him and try to find him a home. But as long as he's going to actually get minutes for this team, I think he stays.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a low leverage situation where it's like no one's going to give you a first round pick for him. No one's going to give you like 4 second rounders for him. And so the way he gets moved is if you absolutely need that salary to match in a trade. Like that's where he gets moved, right? But yeah, I mean, other than that, like there's almost zero downside to having him on the roster outside of if you end up drafting like 2 dudes you really like at that position or something, and you're like, okay, well, I just need to find minutes, right? So let's say you get pick number 2 and you get Dylan Harper, and then you have another pick or something, and you draft another backup point guard style player or whatever. I mean, that is the pathway where you're like, okay, I need to kind of make room for him. But given how frequently this team gets hurt, like, is it really an issue? Is it really an issue? So, yeah. We'll keep it rolling with the next question from Christian, just kind of going down the list here. It's kind of it's a sad question. He says, who plays more minutes next season, assuming a relatively competitive season and they get to game 80, at least fighting for the playoffs and play in, Carlo or Misi?
Okay, I'm going to be mean.
Oh God.
Let's hope we have a good enough center that one of these guys is DMPCD.
So who? You got to pick? That's part of the question.
One of them.
Misi, man.
Misi is the first rounder, so he's going to get the first chance. But whatever.
This team has no semblance of rim protection. I'm not saying Misi gives them that right now, but at least I have like a reason to believe he could be more of that in the future. Like he's got the athleticism, the ops. Like I don't know what more Carlo brings to this team that they absolutely need. So I'm gonna go with Misi and pretty strongly.
Misi's younger and he's better. he was a lottery pick a first round pick for a reason. Uh, I love my Carlo crazies. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all's undying belief in Carlo. I would love for this man to make it, man. The idea of Carlo is so much fun. An athletic big who can finish above the rim and shoot threes and kind of does some weird passing stuff from time to time. The idea of that is amazing. I want that player so badly to work out next to Zion. I mean, you're seeing a guy that's ground-bound in Kelly Olynyk who does those things, but on a more practical level than a theoretical level. And you're like, oh, yep, Kelly Olynyk makes so much sense. Great fit. Love it. And you just desperately want a guy like Carlo to work out. I am skeptical on a personal level that he reaches that point. I think there's a great chance he doesn't have a long NBA career, but is a very well paid player in Europe and very well taken care of, and has a wonderful career over there. But we'll see, man. I'm rooting for him. I think Misi's the guy that would get the minutes. In a related, sorry, you had something to say?
I hope one of them is good enough to be traded for the guy we need.
Okay. I mean, I think we're all in kind of agreement. It's like neither are like foundational building blocks. You know, like the goal is you want them to become rotation players. I think Misi is going to be a rotation player. I mean, with his athleticism and offensive rebounding, there will be a spot for him in the league for a very, very long time. But on a related note, Iceberg was asking, he's interested in knowing Misi's stats playing with and without DeJounte Murray. The eye test seemed to suggest Murray set up Misi well in pick and rolls. Now, I can go and dig these up. I don't have a ton of time, but here's the net ratings. Here's just the how the Pelicans performed with that duo. It's not great. So without either of them, they're minus 5.4. With Eve on the court, DeJounte off the court, it's minus 10. With DeJounte and Eve on the court together, it's minus 12.7. With DeJounte only and Eve off, it's minus 5. So it's not great. The Pelicans are definitely better with only one on the court, but not good in any situations. And the duo, not good. Not good at all. Not good at all.
It's a Cooper Flag winning duo, baby.
It's a Cooper Flag winning duo for sure. Okay, there's a lot of comments that have filed in. If you guys can find a question, pull it up.
I saw one. Oh, there we go. I'll click this one. If New Orleans wins the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, what's your starting lineup next season?
Who's my starting center? Can I get in a trade? Can I make a trade here? My starting lineup would be guaranteed Zion, Cooper, and Trey are the guaranteed starting spots. And then my two other spots, I am fine starting Herb next to these guys and just being jumbo at every position and putting a 5-man, a real rebounding 5-man that can score. I see John saying Brooke Lopez on the MLE. Oh, that would be incredible. Like that would be perfect. Because he could play 25 minutes and you can get Eve off the bench to play the other the rest of the game. But that would be incredible. However, I am willing to do what it takes to go get a center. And so, like we discussed earlier on the show, if I have Zion, if I have Cooper, if I have Trey, can I turn CJ and Herb and something into Sabonis? I would love that. I would love to do that. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any qualms with Cooper and Zion playing together. I think they're going to be fantastic. When you put two athletic, smart basketball players who can both pass the ball next to each other, it's going to be a good time. And Cooper's already showing that his shot is going to be solid. In my opinion, it's going to be really solid. Now you add a shooter like Trey, it's going to be great. Yeah, I just big believer in being huge across positions. You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
In reality, that question is basically, do you because it's agnostic any trades, right? It's those three guys you mentioned, Shimon, are obviously three, and so the question becomes, and Herb is probably in that group too, right? So it's the question is effectively, are you starting CJ or are you starting Eve or someone else? And so
death to small ball first and foremost. Never doing small ball. Just don't want to hear it. I don't want it. You're like, oh, who's the 5 in this? Nobody. None of them are 5s. Get a real 5.
Fair enough. So neither is the answer. You're going to start 4 and 5 if you have to, and just wait until you trade for the 5th dude.
I would start Eve. I don't care. I mean, start Cal. It doesn't matter. You start a big man. Start someone
Kelly.
over 6'9", please.
Yeah. Man.
My immediate response was Dylon 5 times, but since you guys want a serious answer,
I mean that's if you get the number 2 pick. You're not drafting Dylon at 1. You're drafting him at 2.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's just be wings, just be big. Have Zion be the shortest guy in my lineup, and just have arms and limbs and defensive instincts everywhere. Yeah.
Love it.
Me seeing all the 6'7" guys.
No, please not. Me see, just get a real 5, please.
Hey, we're okay. We are in the dumps right now. Someone to drop a non-basketball question in the chat. I don't care what it is.
Nope. We're going the next basketball question. From our guy Reload Wire. He says, in the event Willie is let go, are there any names you guys have in mind for the next coach? I really like Tomas Iasolo. I hope I pronounced that right. From the Grizzlies, the offense is really well structured. I have my thoughts on this, but if you guys want to chime in.
I have Schmidt's thoughts on this. I'll wait for him to say them, and then I'll echo him.
Well, I say, you don't make the head coach hire off of one assistant who can do really great things on one side of the ball, offense or defense. I mean, I think the head coach is a little bit more of a demanding position, and the goal should be to find the next guy like this guy on the Grizzlies to accent your head coach rather than promote this guy to be the head guy. Now, look, maybe this. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this coach's name, so I don't want to butcher it. But this assistant coach on the Grizzlies, maybe he is awesome. Maybe he is a guy that's very capable of like resonating with all level of players, stars, role players, journeymen, able to tie the locker room together. I don't know. I don't think any of us have that kind of insight. It's very difficult. I mean, NBA guys, GMs get this stuff wrong all the time. That's why you see multiple coaching hires made sometimes, right? I do know that there are fans of Micah Nori in the building on the Timberwolves. I know there's fans of Sam Cassell in the building. I know there's fans of Adelman on the Nuggets. And so
I just need to laugh, yo. This game took a lot out of us, man. I just need to laugh one time. We can go back. Yes, go ahead.
F Funky says, this is for our audio only listeners. F Funky says podcast hosts are very hot right now. We got to get Kevin O'Connor in the building.
Yes.
Shout out Kevin O'Connor. But I think there's obviously, like, every year there's like the hot assistant, right? And we've seen it in the past. Remember the various Spurs assistants, Ettore Messina. Remember when he was the hot name that everyone wanted, and like, okay, well, this guy like really knows what he's doing, and you just never know. It's so difficult to identify. I hope they do if they decide to move from Willie, I hope they do a full scale coaching search barring like some awesome guy just being available for some reason or another. That is a proven quantity, but yeah, it's those are the names that I think that they like, but I definitely don't think that is a complete list or even the beginning of a list, or those are just things that you hear off the cuff, right? And that changes, and I hope they do their homework if this is a decision that they're going to make for sure. All right, let's get another question. Let's get another question. I think we'll do a couple more before we sign off.
Yeah,
We're hitting that time.
I got one for you if you didn't find one.
No, go for it.
What players via free agency or trade do you want the front office to target this summer? And Sabonis can't be an answer because we discussed him in a little depth earlier episode.
I didn't get to go down my list of players that you consider trading the pick for, but
Okay.
LaMelo Ball.
That's some fun, baby. Yes.
LaMelo Ball. I think Charlotte should listen on him. I think when you're that bad, everything should be on that table. I believe that for the Pelicans, everything should be on the table, and that's a guy that I wonder what he could be had for. Again, he's a very polarizing player across the league. There's executives that think that contract is completely underwater due to his injuries and maybe his lack of desire to do things to win games, do little things. And then obviously you can find execs who are like, nope, that guy is talented. We just need to get him in our building. Charlotte's fucking him up. We'll fix him. We can fix him. I don't know if the Pelicans are a team that can fix him.
Because what could possibly compel you to think that the Pelicans would be the team to fix LaMelo Ball? Like what? Please.
My hopes and prayers. My
coaching hire.
My hopes and prayers.
The OC on the Memphis Grizzlies. That guy will fix him.
As someone who's had LaMelo Ball as his fantasy basketball keeper for the last 3 seasons and crying every single year I've done it, I'm gonna tell you, this does not work. This does not end well. It does not end well.
But that's what we're watching. Pairing LaMelo and Zion together. What could go wrong?
I want to dance. I want to do hood rat things with my friends, Mason. I want them on this team. If it's just 15 total games of lobs and 35-foot one-legged foot threes, I want it. I
hope Adam's watching this part because I'm playing him in the playoffs right now, and LaMelo just didn't play tonight. It's a mess. Man.
Okay, well, that's a guy that I would consider moving the pick for if it wasn't top 3. I think 4 or 5. That's kind of where I would land it, but I would definitely try to get off DeJounte in that deal. Excuse me. This Spindrift here. Man. Spindrift is making me hiccup. If y'all want to sponsor this pod, you should. Spindrift. Hey man, if any reps from Spindrift are watching. Anyways, Reload says he's asking for John Collins to be a Pelican. John Collins is an interesting one where he can opt out. He has a player option, $26 million. So I wonder what that would look like for him to desire to opt out, because I don't know if he gets $26 million a year on the open market. The competitors in that space for him are Naz Reid and Santi Aldama, and obviously there's not that much cap space, but you can get funky with sign and trades. So it would have to be somewhere above MLE level for sure to get Collins. He's still pretty young. He's having a decent year, so I don't know what that would look like, but would definitely be open to him. I know we've talked about Santi Aldama on this pod. That's always a good one. James is asking, would you trade a non-top 2 pick for Bam? And I am interested to get thoughts on this one.
That contract's starting to look really bad right now. Okay, question, and just use our imaginations here, right? If Bam had Asia Wilson's basketball ability, then yes, I would do it. in New York second. Other than that, nah.
That's such a weird parallel for you to draw. Why? How do you even get there?
Oh, that's it. That they go together. Yes.
Okay. You know what?
Yes.
I don't follow.
Yes.
I'm not up with the latest on that stuff.
Yes.
But
Yes. But hold on. Even if they didn't, I get the best basketball player on the planet.
Yeah.
In the Bam Adebayo, I still want that, even if they never knew each other.
Yeah. I am a Bam skeptic. I think that contract is difficult to build around, as Jeremy said, and he's having a super tough year. I mean, he's one of the most inefficient big men in the league right now. Let me actually get his exact thing. Yeah, he is a 55.8 true shooting for a big. That's pretty terrible. That's.
He takes a lot of tough tools as well.
He does. And look, it's not the greatest team context, but Spo's a good coach.
Yes.
And it's not like Spo's a bad coach.
What's Dallas doing with Anthony Davis now that Kyrie Irving tore his ACL?
I would take AD.
Would I take?
I would take AD back.
Absolutely.
I would take AD back.
Absolutely. Yes.
I want to be behind the scenes of mending those fences. I just want to watch it.
I would do it just to see Dallas's reaction.
For real though, what is Dallas going to do for the next? They can't. Because of what they did with Luka, they cannot possibly trade Anthony Davis. There's no way in hell that happens. But it wouldn't be dumb to consider it given what's happened over the last.
The other thing is.
Go ahead.
The other thing with AD is if we're gonna be realistic about this, AD would. Yeah, he's got to.
Yes, he's got to pay the 5. He has to pay the 5.
AD would never come back to New Orleans. So it's just Rich Paul will be on that phone with Griff in a New York second and be like, "Get him out of here." Griff is not Nico Harrison that AD already has a relationship with. So, yeah, that's not happening. Free agent. Speaking of Pelicans past legends, Chris Paul is a free agent. The Pelicans need a point guard. I would welcome Chris Paul back at any given point. I would love for him to be on the team. Come teach Zion how to draw free throws.
He's gonna go full Vince Carter. I do not want this from man CP3. If you can't scam a title, don't. No, Chris.
He's not trying to scam a title, man. He's on the Spurs.
The Vince Carter. Again, the Vince Carter. That's called the Vince Carter.
Okay. Fair enough.
Playing for the Hawks. Nah, I don't want
the Grizzlies,
that.
Doing all that.
Yeah, I don't want that, man. Go try to get a title, CP3.
Nah. Give me CP3. give me CP3. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, you can't fire Willie if you bring him back, Chris. You can't do it. It's not happening.
Oh man. It would be funny though. You have to admit, you would laugh.
He would do it for Willie. He would do it for Willie.
He would 100% do it for Willie. All just aside, he'd come back for Willie.
He would do it for Willie. Oh man. Yeah, that one's tough. I would welcome. Let's do reunions. Let's keep the reunions going. I'd welcome Lonzo Ball back.
Oh, that's sincerely. Yes, I welcome him back.
I'd welcome Lonzo Ball back.
Nikhil, if you want to come back, you are more than welcome to come if we can afford you. I'm
cool
same
on Christian
thing.
Wood though. I'm cool on him.
Hey JV, you were traded on July 8th, July 9th. Please come back. Please come back July 9th, 2025.
All right.
Please.
What about Najee?
Oh well, that's
Najee can come back. Come back with AD.
Come back. Yes, that's no question.
Najee was playing 40 minutes a game for the Mavs the rest of the season, man.
All right, let's wrap this up. Actually, hold on. I'll come back to this comment. There's a lot of funny comments here. That Funky says, "What's Homer Ashik up to these days?" What about Lexi Jensen? Does he still have you blocked, Mason, or does he follow you? Which one was it? I forgot what it was.
I got his basketball shoes back here, but
Yo,
a solo, come through.
solo assistant coach, right? Player development. I would welcome everyone back, but Hayes and Eric Gordon, says James, and I think that's pretty
I
fair.
think that's fair. I think that's fair.
That's pretty fair. All right, let's wrap it up with our final question here. It's Hirsch. And it says Hirsch says, if the team wants to compete for the playoffs next year, is a starting level point guard more necessary or a center?
The 5. I think the center is much more important than the point guard.
Yeah, and that's because of Zion. One, because of Zion, and two, there's a half cop out answer, which is that if you think DeJounte Murray's coming back next season, then you've got your stretch run point guard. But yeah, I mean, like with Z, the thing you're actually missing is a true 5.
Yeah, I mean, even last year, I was never on the I've never been on the Kool-Aid of they need a point guard specifically, right? I think what they need are playmakers and advantage creators. And so I was a fan of DeJounte because of his cost, and in my mind, he was a better playmaker and advantage creator than Brandon, and that is who he would have been replacing. It wasn't that, oh, this guy is a point guard and that's why they should get him. It was, hey, he's a comparable player to Brandon Ingram, a lot cheaper than what Brandon Ingram's going to ask for. Go get him, and he fits better in what you're trying to do offensively in terms of getting into sets with Zion and the rest of the roster than Ingram. That was the whole DeJounte thing. I think they could, if they're trying to be competitive next year, they can get away with Zion and CJ, obviously health pending, right? Zion, CJ, Jose at those positions. They absolutely cannot get away with Misi, Carlo, Kelly as the big man rotation. They will. I mean, you're seeing the results here. The big men are not.
They're so underwater, just allowing rebounds or not securing rebounds. It's that alone would lift the floor of this team. Just rebounding the basketball.
Dude, like 6'6" dudes can screen the centers out of the way, and it's like a layup line out. It's like there's no physicality. I mean, I don't know. Give me the big bruising center that can rebound, and if it's Brook Lopez, I will take his boxing out rather than his rebounding. Whatever it is, give me the real deal 5. I would trade CJ for Ayton to make it happen.
All right, guys, it was a great week of basketball. Thank you guys so much for coming through in the chat, giving us questions. We really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, and tell a friend to tell a friend. We're going to just edit out the last 45 seconds of what he said.
No, we're not. You're not the editor.
But no, sincerely, thank y'all. If you listen to audio, thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Share the podcast, share the YouTube stream, and we appreciate y'all very much.
Thanks, everybody.